Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been hunting and guiding Western big game for over 34 years, and I've been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years. And I'm here to help you become a more successful and consistent hunter, bear hunter, and outdoorsman. In this episode, we're breaking down one of the most important and most misunderstood questions in spring bear hunting: how to know if a bear is actually huntable or if it's just passing through. And this is where a lot of spring bear hunts quietly fail. Hunters finally see a bear. It feels like a breakthrough. They glass it, watch it move, maybe even make a plan. Then the bear disappears. Hours pass, maybe days pass as they glass. The bear never shows again. And the conclusion most bear hunters jump to is simple: bad luck. But that explanation is wrong more often than people want to admit. Not every bear you see is killable. Some bears are residents, some bears are transient, some bears are feeding with intention, others are simply moving through the country on a schedule that has nothing to do with you. If you can't tell the difference, you can waste an enormous amount of time hunting bears that were really never going to give you an opportunity. This episode is about teaching you how to read their intent. We're going to break down the behavioral, positional, and situational clues that tell you whether a bear is worth committing to or whether it's better to let that sighting go and keep on hunting. We'll talk about how bears use food, how they move when they're settled versus traveling, how timing and terrain matter, and why some bears feel sticky while others feel like ghosts. Once you understand this distinction, your efficiency is going to skyrocket. You stop chasing sightings, you stop burning whole days on bears that were never huntable, and you start investing your time where it actually pays off. Let's break it down. The first thing you need to understand is that not all bears are using the landscape the same way at the same time. In spring, bears generally fall into two broad categories: resident bears and traveling bears. Resident bears have found what they need, what they want, what they like. They have access to food, nearby bedding cover, manageable pressure, and efficient terrain. Because their needs are already met, their movement is repeatable. They feed, bed nearby, spend time digesting, and return to the same general zones day after day. Traveling bears, on the other hand, are in transition. They may be moving between elevation bands as green up progresses. They may be relocating due to pressure. They may be shifting home ranges. Whatever the reason, they are not settled or satisfied with what they've found yet. From a hunting perspective, this distinction matters more than almost anything else. Resident bears are huntable because they give you multiple chances. Even if you don't get an opportunity the first day you see them, odds are good you're going to see them again, often in similar locations during similar time windows. Traveling bears rarely do that. They appear briefly, move with purpose, and vanish. You might see them once and then never again, even if you do everything right. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of hunters make is treating every bear sighting as equal. They see a bear and immediately commit time and energy without asking a critical question: is this bear using this area, or is he just passing through? Resident bears leave patterns. Traveling bears leave quick impressions. Learning to tell the difference early saves you days of frustration. How a bear moves tells you more than where it is. Resident bears move slowly and inefficiently from a human perspective. They feed, they stop, they bed, they reappear, they meander, and often double back through the same areas. Their movement lacks urgency because they aren't trying to get somewhere, they're already there. Feeding for extended periods, bedding within a short distance of food, moving laterally across slopes, reappearing after disappearing briefly, using the same travel lines repeatedly. Traveling bears move very differently. A traveling bear tends to move with directional purpose. It's on a line. It may not move fast, but it moves steadily. It doesn't linger long in one feeding patch. It crosses terrain instead of working it. It uses efficient routes like benches, side hills, ridge lines to cover ground. You might see a traveling bear feed briefly, but it rarely settles. It keeps moving. Often it moves in a straight or gently arcing line rather than looping back. Another key indicator is elevation change. Bears that are climbing or dropping elevation steadily are often in transition. Bears that stay within the same elevation band for hours or days are more likely resident. Hunters often mistake any feeding behavior as a sign a bear is huntable, but that's a mistake. If you can't kill him right now, feeding doesn't automatically mean that they're settled and you're going to get a chance. The context of movement matters. You've got to ask yourself, is this bear working an area or is he just crossing it? Does its movement repeat or is it just one direction? Does it bed nearby or disappear entirely? Movement answers those questions if you're paying attention. One of the clearest indicators that a bear is huntable is repetition. A single sighting is information. A second sighting is confirmation. Resident bears tend to show themselves again, and that second sighting might be later the same day, the next day, or 2 days later, but it usually happens if conditions stay similar. This is why patience matters so much in spring bear hunting. Hunters who bounce after one sighting often abandon resident bears before patterns have time to reveal themselves. If you're serious about becoming a consistent Western black bear hunter, I've built something for you. The Bear Hunting ebook series is a complete progressive education system, 7 volumes that take you from mindset to execution. We start with foundations of reality, breaking down the myths and mental mistakes that ruin seasons before they begin. Then we move into bear behavior and movement, so you understand how bears actually live, travel, feed, and use wind. From there, we dive into spring bear hunting and fall bear hunting, green up, food shifts, pressure, and why bears seem to disappear overnight. Volume 5 teaches you how to read terrain, aspect, ridges, benches, and edge habitat like a professional. Volume 6 sharpens your glassing and scouting so you stop missing bears in plain sight. And Volume 7, that's execution, spot and stock strategy, wind control, closing distance, and finishing the encounter. Buy each volume individually or bundle them all to save 60% off at backboneunlimited.com. Traveling bears rarely offer second sightings. They may pass through during a narrow window and be gone by the next glassing session. Another important factor is time of day. Resident bears often appear during similar daily windows. If you see a bear feeding late morning on a south-facing slope and you glass that same slope at the same time the next day, a resident bear is likely to show again. Traveling bears don't respect those windows. They show when movement demands it, not when feeding conditions are ideal. Hunters who succeed learn to give bears time to declare themselves one way or the other. They don't immediately dive into stock mode. They observe, they glass again, they look for consistency. The mistake a lot of hunters make is rushing their commitment. They assume urgency because bears feel rare. In reality, urgency should come from confirmation, not excitement. The second sighting is often what separates wasted effort from smart investment. Where a bear positions itself in the landscape tells you whether it plans to stay. Resident bears choose terrain that solves multiple needs at once: food, cover, security, and efficient movement. They often feed near escape cover. They bed on benches or timber edges. They stay close to terrain that allows quick disappearance. Traveling bears use terrain differently. They prioritize efficiency over comfort. They move along side hills, ridge lines, or drainage edges that allow continuous movement. They may cross open areas without lingering because they aren't invested in that location. Another important clue is how bears interact with edges. Resident bears tend to work edges slowly, feeding out of timber, bedding back in, and repeating. Traveling bears often cross edges cleanly and keep moving. Pay attention to: does the bear bed near food? Does it stay close to cover? Does it use terrain repeatedly? Terrain doesn't lie. Bears that intend to stay choose terrain that allows them to live comfortably. Bears that are passing through choose terrain that allows them to move efficiently. Hunters who ignore terrain context just chase sightings. Hunters who read terrain are going to hunt patterns. One of the hardest skills to learn is when not to commit. Just because you see a bear doesn't mean you should just hunt that bear. Commitment should come after confirmation, not just emotion. Commit when the bear shows repeated use of the area. Movement is slow and looping. Feeding and bedding are close together. Sightings repeat across time windows. Terrain supports staying put. Try to hold back when movement is directional and steady. Elevation is changing rapidly. No repetition of sighting occurs. Terrain favors travel, not feeding. Pressure or wind already compromised the area. Letting a traveling bear go doesn't mean you failed. It means you conserve time and energy for bears that can actually be killed. The most efficient bear hunters I know don't chase chase every sighting. They choose their battles. Once you learn to distinguish huntable bears from pass-through bears, your entire season changes because you stop reacting and you start selecting the bears you want to hunt. That's how consistency is built, because not every bear you see is huntable. Some bears are settled, some are moving, some are feeding with intention. Others are simply passing through on a schedule you can't control. The difference is revealed through movement, repetition, terrain use, and time. Resident bears give you patterns. Traveling bears just give you glimpses. When you learn to read those signals, you stop wasting days on bears that were never going to offer a real opportunity and give you time to get there. You invest your effort where it matters, and your success rate jumps. If you're serious about taking this kind of knowledge deeper, that's exactly why I built Team Backbone. It's more than just a membership, it's a way to sharpen your edge with exclusive tools, strategies, and a tribe of relentless hunters. Inside, you're going to get 20% off site wide on all Backbone Unlimited gear, the option to have a t-shirt shipped to your door every month, full access to the digital content vault of guides, checklists, and backcountry strategies, a private Facebook group with direct access to me, and a community of driven hunters. Direct call, text, or email access to me for personalized advice on training, hunting strategy, or just sharpening your edge, and automatic entry into monthly gear giveaways. This is built for the guys who train for the hunt, push themselves in the off season, and want to be part of a tribe that makes them better. If you're ready for that kind of inner circle, then Team Backbone is waiting for you at backboneunlimited.com under our membership tab. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.